Yo, what's going on, guys? It's DFS Hart, and today I'm breaking down the 10-game NBA slate. Before getting into that, I just want to say welcome to my channel. My name is Hart, and I make daily NBA, NFL, and PGA slate breakdowns on Draftkings, where I go over the best plays of the day, give you some building blocks, go over lineup construction and how I'm going to attack the slate of the day. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell as I make slate breakdowns every day, as I just mentioned. So, before we get into it, let's look at my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, DFS Heart. If you guys have any questions or, when injury news comes out and you guys have any pivots you want to go over with me, I'll be happy to answer those. So at DFS Heart, follow me there. And now let's get into it. So as I mentioned, we got, 10 game slate. We got the Hawks Wizards 3.5 spread, 234 over under. Pacers Hornets 3.5 spread, 221 over. Cavs Knicks 1 point spread, 209 over under. Bucks Pelicans 7.5 spread, 230 over under. Kings Raptors 5.5 spread, 229 over under. Clippers Magic 3.5 spread, 214 over under. The 76ers Minnesota Timberwolves 7-point spread, 224 over under. Nuggets Spurs 4-point spread, 222 over under. And the Mavs Jazz 4-point spread, 222 over under. So today should be a fun one. It is looking like it's shaping up to be. There's a lot of different ways to attack this slate. There's some value opening up with injury news. We're going to have to keep an eye on that for more later in the day. But as of right now, I'm really liking all the center plays. It's a pretty stacked position today, as well as the point guards. There's a ton of people underpriced today. I don't know why. So there's a lot of different routes you can go. Stars and scrubs, more balanced, if you will. So it'll be interesting to see. I think I'm going to go more of like the balanced approach. Try to jam as many 7, 8K guys in there. And then I might even make, another lineup. I think today's a good day to make, 2 lineups if you're a one lineup guy. And then, just do 2 different strategies to see if they work. So let's get on into it. Indiana, Charlotte. First game. We got Sabonis at 9-2. He was questionable coming off that injury if he's going to play. So he was very low owned because he did playing and he smashed, 55 fantasy points. His price tag has come down. Sabonis is usually getting, 35 to 40 minutes in close games, which has pretty much been every game. So I think he's firmly in play at 9-2. He's, got that triple-double upside. He's playing really well, so I like him at 9-2, especially against Charlotte. Brogdon, 8-4. He's had back-to-back, really good games, 60 fantasy points, 45 fantasy points. So he's getting 20 minutes as Sabonis. So I'm, fine with you going there too as well. Miles Turner, 7-2. You can go there if you want. I wouldn't. There's a lot of other plays I'd rather play today than Miles Turner at 7-2. Especially with Brogdon and Sabonis being the main guys on this team with all the usage. And then you could take a shot on guys like Lamb, McDermott, or a Holiday. They'll get minutes. It's just now that Sabonis is back, their usage is not going to be as high as it was when he was out that one game. So I'm fine with you taking a shot. Lamb I'd say is maybe the best play out of all 3 of them, just because he was good last year. He's a good shooter. He can get you the peripheral stats. So if I was going to take a shot on someone, I'd take a shot on Lamb. He let a lot of people down last slate, so it could be a good buy low opportunity. But you do have to remember Sabonis and Brogdon are going to be the high usage guys on this team, and they're a lot better spots than Lamb. He's more of a dart throw. On the Charlotte side, we have Gordon Hayward at the top, 7K. He's just one of the one of a ton of guys who are just underpriced. I don't think he hasn't been 7K at all this season. He has 60 fantasy point upside. He does sometimes have a low floor, as we saw last game. 25 fantasy points, 26, 20, So if he's not playing well, he can get you low 20s, which is not the best, but at 7K, I'm more than willing to take that shot. Played 40 minutes last game, 38 before, 38 before that. He's getting high 30s, close to 40s every game when it's close. So at 7K, he's just bound to pay off that salary and, go even higher with a higher ceiling if he's playing well. So it's not the best matchup against Indiana, but you can't really deny a 7K for Gordon Hayward. He's going to be popular, but I think it's well worth it. Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham, PJ Washington. You can take a shot on them if you want. That's not for me, though. I'd much rather go to Gordon Hayward at the top. And then, just kind of go from there. LaMelo Ball, 5'8". You can go there if you want. His minutes have been down. He's not been playing as well as he was at the beginning of the season. But he does have that upside when he's getting minutes, to get, 60, 50 fantasy points. So you can definitely take a shot on him. And then Cody Zeller, we saw him start last game. He got 30 minutes, and he went off for 37 fantasy points. So his price tag came up, but at 4K, still good value if he's going to get around 25 to 30 minutes. So you can definitely play him again today. Moving on to Atlanta and Washington. We got Trae Young at the top, 9-1. His price tag isn't moving, and he's still playing amazing. So you can definitely go back to Trae Young. I think he's in a great spot. As we see, he's getting a ton of minutes, ton of shots. Earlier in the season, his shots, he wasn't really shooting a ton. But then he's really picked it up the past 4 games. His assists are there, so you get that double-double upside. So I think Trae Young's in a great spot against Washington. Capella, he's viable at 8-9. It's a high price tag for him. I mean, he does have huge upside, but we saw him come back down to earth last game, 26 fantasy points, only 30 minutes. So you can go there at 8-9, but there's just a lot of other plays I'd rather play than Capella. He'll probably be low owned on this slate, so you can definitely do that. It'd be a GPP play. Collins to 7-2. I don't know if I'd go there. You can take a shot. I'd much rather take a shot on a guy like, Hunter. He's getting about, 35 minutes a game, even higher if it's, a close game. The last game went into overtime, so he played about 40 minutes in regulation, which is huge. As I mentioned, every slate he's got, basically 30 fantasy point floor and, into the 40s for his ceiling. So at 6'3", it's a decent price tag, especially in this matchup. And as we see with, guys like Bogdan out, most of the minutes have been going to Hunter. He's been playing the best of all the wings, so they love playing him the whole game. Herder at 5'8". I don't know if you have to go there. I'd much rather, play Hunter or Trae Young. Cam Reddish is probable today, so he's going to get some good run off the bench at 4'6", so you can definitely take a shot on him. He'll play about, 25 to 35 minutes if he's playing really well, so I'm fine with you going to Cam Reddish at 4'6". And that'd be, mostly it on this team. Target Trae, Hunter, and then Reddish, and then you can take, dart throws on Capella and Collins if you want. On the Washington side, we got Beal at the top, 10-2. We saw last game, he went off for, I think it was like 70 fantasy points. Played 40 minutes. He shoots the ball really well. He's a really good shooter. And that's because, Russ was out, so he had to do everything. He doesn't have a team. Feel bad for him, but so if Russ is going to play today and play his full minutes, he's going to be one of the best plays of the day. He will be chalky, but that's fine. 9K, he's got triple-double upside. When he is playing his full minutes, he's playing close to 40 minutes a game. So you just got to keep an eye on this. If Russ is, if he's restricted, you can definitely look to Brad Beal, but if he's not, firmly, Russ is the best play of the day, I'd say, or one of the best. And then the rest of the guys, Bertans is back, Hachimura is back. You can take a shot on them. They'll be extremely low owned, but I'd much rather go to like Russ or Beal, and that's it on this team. Milwaukee, New Orleans. We got Giannis at the top, 10-8. Giannis is always in play. He has 60, 70, even 80 fantasy point upside, so it's a good matchup against New Orleans. It's just, there's a lot of better plays than, paying up for Giannis today. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, you can take shots on them if you want, They're firmly in play, but I don't know if you have to do it. Brook Lopez, same thing. Bobby Portis. So I really only look to Giannis on this team, or if you're trying to get different, you can take a shot at Middleton and Holiday, but I don't think you have to go there today. New Orleans side, you got BI at the top, AK. I mentioned in my last video, buy low on him. He wasn't getting those, peripherals, rebounds, and assists, but he's done it before, and he's a good player, so it worked out, 53. I wish I would listen to my own advice, but yeah, he had a great game against Washington, even though it was a blowout. But yeah, I mean, he's firmly in play today at 8K. He'll be very low owned, so you can definitely go to BI in this spot against Milwaukee. Same thing with Zion. He has a little bit of a lower ceiling than Brandon Ingram, but you can definitely go to him. He's been scoring the ball a ton and can get you that double-double upside with his rebounds. And then you can take a shot on Bledsoe. It's a revenge spot against Milwaukee. Adams is firmly in play at 5'6". And then Lonzo Ball is questionable, so you have to keep an eye on that. If he's out, you can look to a guy like Alexander Walker at 4'2". We saw when he gets minutes, he is aggressive and can get you, high 50s if he's shooting the ball a ton or really well. So, I mean, he's a decent play at 4'2" if Lonzo's out. But if Alonzo's in, then you could take a shot on Lonzo or Bledsoe, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, and just hope one of them hits. Lonzo was having a good game, and then he hurt his ankle, so didn't play the second half. But I think he was close to like 30 fantasy points in the game yesterday or 2 days ago. So he played 16 minutes, hit 25, I think, going into halftime, then didn't play the rest of the game because of his ankle. So you could definitely take a shot on him. I'd much rather go to him over Bledsoe, but yeah. This game is pretty much a stay away from me unless, Lonzo's out, then you can look to Nigel. But I don't think I'm going to target anyone else. This Cleveland, New York, I think it's the lowest scoring game of the day, spread-wise or point-wise. Drummond at the top, 8'6". He's just, not playing the minutes. As I mentioned with the trade, getting Jared Allen, he's only playing, close to 30 minutes. Not even that. So he is shooting the ball a ton. And he is getting you there, 48, 59. Just be wary, though. He doesn't have that high minutes upside. And last game he got 5 steals. So that's 10 points. He would have had 49 without those steals. He's only averaging, maybe one and a half a game. So that's more of an outlier. You can definitely take a shot. He was low owned and it paid off, but I don't know if you have to do it just with the amount of good plays at center today. Nance is questionable. You can take a shot if you want to go there. Sexton is the highest usage guy on this team, or at least tied with Drummond, so you can definitely go there. As we see this season, he's got high 40s into the 60s if he's shooting the ball really well upside. So at 6'7", it's okay price tag for Colin. Seti at 5'4". You can take a shot. He does have that high upside of, 30s, 40s if he's shooting the ball really well. Can get you a ton of minutes if he's playing well. So I don't know if you have to do it. Torian Prince is kind of, taking away some minutes from Seti now because Prince is playing a lot better. So this, team is pretty much a stay away. Besides, Darius Garland, he is in the starting lineup again. Played 31 minutes. I expect that number to go up. He's a good shooter. He can get you rebounds and assists. So I do really like Garland again. It's another buy low opportunity. So we saw in the beginning of the season he has 40, 50 fantasy point upside. His floor is low, as we saw, 26 fantasy points. But I'd definitely buy low on Darius Garland again, even though he didn't work out last slate. And the last guy I mentioned is Torian Prince. We've seen his minutes start going up. He's playing the ball, playing well, shooting the ball well. 37 fantasy points. I don't know if you can expect that again. I'd say he's more of a 25-minute, per game guy. Could get you in the high 20s if he's shooting well into the 30s. But he's an okay, dart throw. I don't know if it's necessary. I'd much rather go to Garland and then, taking a shot in Sexton or Drummond if you're going to take someone from this side. New York, Cleveland, on the New York side. We have ran up the top 9-3. You can go there if you want. I mean, it's a decent matchup, but I'm not feeling Randall today. But he does have that triple-double upside if you want to go there, so I'm more than fine with that. RJ Barrett, he has 40 fantasy point upside. His price has come down. He is playing huge minutes. I wouldn't worry about the Portland game. They were just playing terrible. Or he was playing terrible, so he got pulled. But yeah, I mean, he's playing 35 to 40 minutes if it's close. He does have 40 fantasy point upside. He can get you the rebounds. He's had some big rebound games. Sorry. So I think he's a decent play at 6'3" for his price tag. Mitchell Robinson, want to go there. Alfred Payton, you can always take that shot. Hope he plays well and get you assists. And then you can take shots on, Alec Burks or quickly. Other than that, I'm not really looking to anyone on this side. Sacramento, Portland. We have De'Aaron Fox, 8'5". He's always in play, He's basically got that 40 fantasy point floor, and it sometimes, is a ceiling in the 40s, but he always has that chance of having a huge game, as we saw, 77 fantasy points, so it's not the best price tag for him, but you can definitely, play him if you want to, if you're feeling frisky. Lastly, I mentioned Rashawn Holmes. He's a good GPP dart throw because he's getting huge minutes. He only got 32 minutes last game, but 40 fantasy points. He has a double upside. So I'm more than fine going back to Rashawn Holmes. He's good at scoring inside. He has, high 40 fantasy point upside. So it's not the best matchup, but you can definitely go there. Buddy Hield had his ceiling game last slate, which was pretty annoying. 50 fantasy points, shot the ball really well, especially from three. So you can take a shot. He'll be loaned again. No one likes playing him. And if, just hope he's shooting the ball well and it carries on into this game. And then Barnes and Bagley are both guys you can take shots on. Harrison Barnes started off the season really well and kind of cooled off for, 5-game stretch. And then he's picked it back up, 44, 37. So at 6K, you can go there if you want. I just never trust him. And as I mentioned, Bagley, 5'8". He played really well, 36 fantasy points, but he only played 22 minutes. So his minutes are definitely in question. They're kind of all over the place. He does love to foul a lot, so it's, he's going to have to be guarding Pascal, so he's more of a GPP dart throw, as you can see with his minutes and his scoring, so he can either get you there or he's going to destroy your lineup. And then the last guy, I mentioned him last slate. I was on him a lot. Played 30 minutes. He just didn't shoot the ball well. Got you 21.5 fantasy points still. His price tag came down 4.8, so I really like him in the spot again. He has 40 fantasy point upside. I'm going to keep mentioning that. He loves to get assists, so if he's hitting his shots, he's going to get you the assists, and then you just got to hope for some rebounds and steals, and you're going to get 35 plus, fantasy points from him. So I love him in the spot at 4.8 because he's blowout proof too. So even if the game blows out, he's still going to get you minutes because he's a rookie. And I like him. On the Toronto side, everyone at the top is just extremely underpriced. Fred VanVleet, 7'5". He's firmly in play. Went 3 of 17, still got you 46, basically 47 fantasy points. So he'd be a great play today, especially in this matchup. Pascal, 7'3", firmly in play today. Going to get you close to 35 to 40 minutes if it's close. He's got 50 fantasy point upside, so I think he's in a great spot today. And same with Lowry, 7-1. I don't know why all these guys are so cheap. Doesn't make sense, but they're all great plays today. Lowry has probably been the worst of the three, but he does have that, 40-plus fantasy point upside. So at 7-1, that's all you really need from him. And he has, the ability to go for 60 if he's shooting the ball really well. OG, I don't know if you have to go there at 6'5". Same with Powell. And then you can take a dart throw on Boucher. He's 6'1". He's come back to earth. He's not getting as many guaranteed minutes as he was at the beginning of the season, which doesn't really make sense. But he'll definitely be extremely low owned, and you can go there at 6'1". Decent price tag for him because all you really need is for him to have a good game again, as we saw in the beginning of the season, and he'll be probably breaking the slate. So yeah, I'd say definitely get at least one of these Raptors guys in your lineups. Whether it be Fred, Siakam, or Lowry, or then you can take a dart throw on Boucher. I'd say maybe Pascal is my favorite today, which I don't like because every time I play him, which is rare, he always does bad for me. But I'd say he's the best play on this side. Philly, Minnesota. We got Joel at the top. This is huge news that you have to watch. Because if Joe's out, you're gonna want to take a shot on Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Seth. Get at least one of these guys in your lap, maybe even two. Because it's a prime matchup against Minnesota. They're bad at defense. They're just a terrible team overall. So it should be high scoring, and these guys are all priced down. Ben Simmons 7-7, as I mentioned. I said I think in my last video he'd probably get 50, 60 plus fantasy points. He got 53 triple double. So he does have that upside. His price tag came down $400, so he's definitely firmly in play in this matchup. And I'd say he's a great play if Ben Simmons or Joel is out. Tobias 6'8", same thing. Gonna be a huge usage guy. If what's his name? Joe. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. So he's definitely in play at 6'8". And then Seth Curry. He's more reliant on his scoring, which is risky, but he will get you there minutes wise. And if he's shooting the ball, he does, have that 30 to 40 fantasy point upside. So, especially in this matchup, he's coming off of I think it was COVID. Yeah, he tested positive for COVID, so he's trying to get back in the swing of things. So I do really like him at 4-4 against Minnesota. So if Joe's in, amazing spot. We know what he does. No one can really guard him. He can get you 50, 60, even 80 fantasy points if he's playing really well. So it's an amazing spot at 9-4 against a terrible Minnesota team. So definitely, if Joe's in, you definitely go to him. And then I'd say go to the guy like Seth Curry. If Joel's out, go to Ben, Tobias, and Seth. And then you could take it like dart throw shot into Dwight. He was terrible last game. Joel was out. I think he went for 15 fantasy points. But he is 4-2, so he's always in play if Joe's out. On the Minnesota side, Towns is still out. And then D'Lo, 8-2. I think he might come back this game. He's questionable with the quad, but he's been out the past few games, past 3, due to rest and, his quad. But I think we'll see him come back this game. He's in play at 8-2. If they keep the game close, it's usually because of D'Lo. He's kind of like SGA, where if it's a close game, he'll be going off. So he's definitely in play if he plays. If not, look to guys like Beasley again, 6'4". Gonna play. He's only played 30 minutes, but that's because both the games against Minnesota or Golden State were pretty close to blowouts. They've always had to fight back, but he will play 30, 35 plus if it's close. He is, he can get you close to 50 fantasy points if he's shooting the ball really well and getting rebounds and assists. So even with D'Lo in, Beasley's in play, but if he's out, D'Lo's still out, definitely go back to Beasley at 6'4". It's a great price for him. Naz Reid, as I mentioned, he's a good point per minute guy, 5'9", but he does have that foul trouble risk. He's usually getting 3 a game, if not more. We saw 44 fantasy points against Golden State. He's decent at getting you blocks, but his minutes is just risky because of his foul trouble. He'll lose a lot of minutes due to that. So he's definitely a dart throw at 5'9" in this spot. If Embiid is playing, don't play Naz Reid. Naz Reid will probably foul out. But if Embiid's out, that's a better spot for Naz, and he definitely has the ability to go off. Sorry about that. Vanderbilt, 5-1. I don't think you have to go there. I mean, if D'Lo's still out, you can go back to Ricky at 5K. He's just been terrible. 28, 27, 12. So he has an extremely low floor. He's not a good shooter. He can usually get you rebounds and assists, but he's just been really bad. So, I mean, he's worth taking a shot on in 5K because he does have, some upside. But I don't know if you really want to do it. Anthony Edwards, had a good game, shot the ball well, did get you some steals. So you can take a shot on him again if you want, but he's very risky. He's not the best shooter this year. So I don't know if you have to do it. People are probably going to chase that. Last guy I'll mention is McLaughlin. His price tag came down. I mean, if D'Lo's still out, he's going to get you 20-plus minutes. He has the ability, score the ball well and get some assists and rebounds. So I do think he's in play if D'Lo's out at 3-8. And let's get on to the last 4 games. Brooklyn game. We just got news that Durant is out, so that means Harden and Kyrie are both firmly in play. Harden 10-3. He, got close to triple-double, went off for 72 fantasy points. So, this is a great spot. OKC give up a ton of points. So, Harden's firmly in play, especially with Durant out. He's looking like old Houston Harden, so he's in an amazing spot against OKC. Durant out, as I mentioned, so don't play Durant. And then Kyrie at 8-7. I mean, Harden and Kyrie are going to be hugely popular, especially Kyrie because of his price tag. It's 8-7, but he's got you 40, 50, even 60-plus fantasy point upside. So definitely one of the best spin-ups of the day is Kyrie, and then even Harden at 10-3. That means Joe Harris is a little bit more viable now that Durant's out. 5'2". He's a shooter, but he's decent in your rebounds, so you can definitely go there. He has, high 30 upside if he's shooting the ball well. So you can definitely take a shot. I don't know if it's, necessary. I'd much rather just play, Kyrie and Harden on this team, but you can go there. DeAndre Jordan, one of those guys you can always take a shot on and hope he plays well, but I don't know if you have to do it. And then Jeff Green, 4-6. He doesn't have huge upside, but he's a decent play at 4-6. He's kind of got a, 20 fantasy point floor. He can get you in the 30s if he's shooting the ball well. With Durant out, he's still going to get you 30 minutes, maybe even a little bit more. So I think he's an okay play at 4-6. And then guys like Bruce Brown and TLC should get a little bit more run. You can take a dart throw shot in TLC. He'll probably play 20 to 25 minutes. He's a shooter, a pure shooter. So if he's not hitting his shots, his floor is, within the single range, 5 to 10. But this is a good spot for him to, have a good game. So you can definitely risk it. But you don't have to go there. I just say take your shot on Harden and Irving and then maybe Joe Harris. On the OKC side, we got SGA 8-3. With Durant out, this blowout risk is a lot. It goes down a bit. But I think there still is a chance that they get blown out. But as we know with SGA, he had huge upside, 40 to 50 plus, even in the 60s, he can get you there. So 8-3, it's a decent price for him. If the game is close, it's because of SGA. So, I mean, if you can definitely game stack, go Harden, Kyrie, and SGA, and then try to get value. So you can definitely do that. Al Horford, 5'9". I'd say never play him. He had his best game of the season, 21 and 11, but he doesn't play more than 30 minutes a game. So that's just a huge risk. He does have a low floor if he's not shooting the ball well. Won't play over 30, so you don't have to go there. Don't chase his high point game last game. And then if you're game stacking this game with, Harden, Kyrie, and SGA, definitely you can look to Basley at 5K. He's a good GPP play because he's, all over the place. He has 40 fantasy point upside if he's shooting the ball well. He can get you some rebounds, but he's just been, bad at shooting this season. So you can go there if you want. 5K is a good price for him, but it's risky. I'd rather take, a dart throw shot on Hamidou Diallo or Dort. They'll be, chalky, or Maladin. So, Dort 4-4. He's known for his defense, but he will, chuck threes. If he's hitting a shot and this game is close, he can definitely get you in the 40s if he's playing really well. So it's worth taking a shot if you're game stacking on Dart or Diallo at 3-9. He's the same thing as Dort, basically. He's not getting as many minutes as Dort. So, I mean, you can definitely see that increase this game. But I'd much rather go to Dort over Diallo, but they're both in play. And then Theo played 30 minutes last game with George Hill out. I expect to see the same. He has a low floor and pretty low ceiling, but 3-4, it's a good salary relief, especially if you're game stacking this game. So if you're going Harden, Kyrie, definitely run it back to SGA, and then you can take a shot on, Dort. Diallo, and Maladin. Clippers, Orlando. We have, Kawhi Leonard, questionable. Paul George, questionable. Got to keep an eye on that. Because if they're out, you can definitely look to Reggie Jackson still. He's been having huge games at 6'7", 37, 46. So you can definitely go back to Reggie if those two are out. If they're in, I don't know if I'd really touch anyone on this team. They're all kind of priced about right, and they're priced a little high just because of, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard being out. So if they're in, don't play anyone. If they're out, as I mentioned, you go back to Reggie Jackson. Luke Kennard's been terrible at 6'2". I played him back-to-back slates, 28-18. Not going back there. Serge, he's only playing about 30 minutes. Batum, no. I mean, yeah, I really don't have any interest on this team. Even, I'd say the only one that interests me is Reggie Jackson, and that's if Kawhi or Paul George are out. If they're in, or one of them's in, you can take a shot on the person that's in, but it's mostly a stay away on this side for me. Orlando, as I mentioned, Vooch, 8-8. Great price for him. There is a blowout risk if both, those superstars on the Clippers play, but he has that, 40 fantasy point for 50 plus to 60 plus upside if he's playing well. So I think, he's in a decent spot. He'll be low owned, so you can definitely go there. Same with Gordon. Let a lot of people down last slate. Scored 3 points, 15 fantasy points. I think he had 3 fantasy points at half. So it was terrible. I had him. Ruined my lineup, but you can definitely buy low on him. He'll be lower owned just because of that and because of the matchup. Fournier, I want to do it. He's been having a couple good games past few, so I think he might have a little bit of ownership, but it's just a bad matchup for them. The guy you could take a shot on is, Cole Anthony. Playing about 30 minutes a game, 35 plus if he's playing well and shooting well. So he does have some upside. And I'd say the best upside on the team besides Vooch and Gordon. So you can definitely go there. I want to go to anyone else. So I'd really only look to, Vooch, buy low on Gordon, and then you can, Cole's a risky play at 5-4. Denver, San Antonio. Jokic, price tag has come down 10-1. This is an amazing spot for him. I do think he'll be popular. Not as popular now that, Durant's out. So, Kyrie and Harden might be the, most popular plays of the day. But, he's going to get you 35 plus minutes if the game is close. Has 80 fantasy point upside if he's, playing really well. So, firmly in play. Really like this spot for him. Same with Jamal Murray, 6'9". As we know, he's the perfect GPP play because no one ever plays him. He plays a ton of minutes, but if he's shooting the ball bad, you'll see he has an extremely low floor, but he has the ability to go off, as we saw in the bubble, even though he really hasn't flashed it this year. I think he's firmly in play at this price and against, the Spurs. Porter Jr., you can go there if you want, 6'6". I don't know if you have to. I'd just rather play Murray or Jokic, but he has been getting a decent amount of fantasy points. His minutes are not as high. They kind of vary, but it'd be okay play. And then you can look to guys like, Monte Morris, as I mentioned. He's just always in play because of his minutes. Last game, they got, I think they destroyed Miami. So, he only played 17 minutes, but he usually gets you 25 to 35. Not a huge ceiling, but he's definitely a decent play at 4K for, about 25 fantasy points. So I really look to Jokic, Murray, and then, Monte Morris on the side. San Antonio side, you have DeRozan at the top, 6'8". Great price tag. He's one of those guys, I don't know why he's so cheap. He has 40, 50 fantasy point upside. Plays a ton of minutes, so I think he's definitely in play. You can definitely do a game stack for this game as well. Jamal Murray, Jokic, and then you can go to DeRozan. DeJounte Murray, his price tag has come down a ton too, so he'll be super popular. He plays, about 35 minutes a game. Can get you a triple-double. He can, get you a double-double. So I think he's firmly in play. He will be really popular. I know a lot of other YouTubers are on him, so Both these guys will have a lot of, a high ownership, but they're both great plays today. And then you can take a shot on Keldon Johnson. I don't know if I trust Marcus. He might have some foul trouble against Jokic, so don't know if I'd go to either one of those. You can take a dart throw on Lonnie. And the last guy I mentioned is, Patty Mills. Will play in a 20 to 30 minutes, depending if he's playing well. He has the ability to get you there into the 30s if he's shooting the ball really well. Can get you a couple assists, so he's an okay play at 4.8. And then let's see Vassell. Usually he's a decent value player. Last game only played 15 minutes. It's more of an outlier. Obviously his minutes are not guaranteed, but he has been playing about 20 to 30 if he's playing well. So I think you can definitely go back to Vassell. His ownership might be down a little bit, but he's in a great spot at 3.5. So I'd really target DeRozan, Murray, take a dart throw on anyone else, and then go to Vassell for value on that side. And then last game of the day, Dallas, Utah. Not the best spot for Dallas. As we saw last game, they got blown out by Utah. But, Luka's always in play at 10-6. Could get you about 100 fantasy points if he's playing well. Has most of the usage on the team, so he's definitely in play. And I don't think people are going to... He's going to be low owned just with all the other good plays of the day, but he has an amazing upside. They got blown out. I don't think a lot of people are going to go to him, so he's definitely a low owned, good GPP play. Same with Porzingis. He'll be low owned, 7.9. Playing on about 33 minutes a game, which is not the best, but he could definitely get you close to 40 if he's playing well. Can get you into the 50 fantasy points if he's getting rebounds and some blocks or assists. So I think he's a fine play at 7.9. Hardaway Jr., Johnson, Brunson, Richardson, Burke, Finney Smith. I think, if I were to take a shot on someone, it would definitely be Finney Smith, maybe at 4K. He played 24 minutes, his first game back in, almost a month. He's not the best scorer, but he does get a ton of minutes when he's in the starting lineup, so we'll see what they do if they put Porzingis at the 5 and him at the 4, but if not, he's an okay, GPP dart throw. Just hope he shoots the ball well, and he'll get you some rebounds and maybe a couple assists, but I don't know if you have to really do it for this game. There's just a lot of other plays and games that I'd rather target, but it would be low owned, so it'd really help you out if this game stayed close. Guys went off. Donovan Mitchell, 8.3. Got to keep an eye out on this. If he's in, you can definitely play him. He's been playing really well recently, but you don't really have to go there. Gobert had a great game last game. 68 fantasy points, 54. So I think people may chase this, but I don't think you have to do it. But he's a fine play. Conley, if Mitchell's out, Mike Conley becomes a great play at 6K. 36, 34, decent. He can get you into the 40s if he's shooting the ball really well. So at 6K, it's a great price tag. Even if Mitchell's back, you can definitely look to Conley. And then, Clarkson's in play if Mitchell's out still. He had the better game than Conley last game, 44 fantasy points. So that's about it. You can take a dart throw on Ingles, Bogdan, or Royce O'Neal, but that's not for me. So if Mitchell's out, definitely go back to Conley or Clarkson, and you can take a shot on Gobert. But if Mitchell's in, I just much rather take the shot on Mitchell, hope the game stays close, or take the shot on Conley. And that's going to do it for me today, guys. Follow me on Twitter at DFSHard if you have any questions, and then hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for when I put up more videos. And I just want to say thank you. Hope you guys catch today, and that's I'll see you guys tomorrow.